I'm having myself a laugh, and you would too if you were using your brain. These kids are saying, I will not comply. Now, if you think back to 2020 to present day, most people did. Because you and I are not surrounded by smart people, which is why things are bad. Also, bear in mind, I left a lengthy comment in here, which I had to click see more multiple times. Let's see, only that many times, either way. This will vanish when I refresh my profile. I should also make sure I'm bookmarking this so it doesn't disappear. I'm going to play her video for you in a second. I'm also going to leave this comment on a number of superficial internet babies' reactions. What I want you to kick around is, what do you think they're not complying with? What do you think that might be? Because the chances of it having any bearing on something that would benefit you and I is highly unlikely. And this kid screaming freedom cracks me up. Also, if you see somebody using emojis, they are the bottom of the barrel. They're marching in lockstep. They're more than willing to do as instructed, which is the opposite of not complying. Just to paint a muddy picture. If you've never thought about such things, the way I usually dress it up is, well, maybe I won't rattle that off, but you are the problem. That's the simple version. And it's, a version for simple people. Here, I'll play the video for you because you probably don't have an attention span.
I'm not afraid to die. So, I will not comply.
Oh, it rhymes!
Come get me. Come get me. You can't take us all. But maybe if you take me, you could leave some of the younger generation.
She knew what she was talking about, too. A number of us have to be around because we put bread on our master's table, just to be clear. This is also why you and I are, unhealthy, for lack of better words. The food supply was hijacked and weaponized. We're crop dusted, and the list goes on because nothing is for the people by the people. People are doing all the wrong things. They're lulled into a daydream because they have entertainment and the internet, which is entertainment. It's a bad way to put it, but sorry, I'm tired of complaining about things like this. It'd be nice to be surrounded by people who are using their brain. It frustrates me because she has 59,000 people that she's misled so far. And do you see anywhere in here where it states what the fuck she's talking about? I don't. I see Buzzy Bee, teacher, comedic satirist, which isn't encouraging based on what she's shopping around. So is this satire or is she actually standing up for something? Mixed feelings, mixed signals. The wires are crossed. That's also a problem. She's not clear. Granted, I didn't finish, playing this crappy video.
Alone. Are you ready to put your life on the line like that?
For what?
Let's go, America. We need all of us in this fight.
Who the fuck is she fighting?
Buzzy Bee teacher, comedian, and a satirist, and I've been helping you along with hope and entertainment.
With hope? Did she just, rattle off hope? Do you remember the steward of the District of Columbia known as Obama? That was his slogan because it's a double-sided sword. Hope was already weaponized, and people got on that fucking bandwagon and they rode it. And what did Obama do? He fast-tracked the Trans-Pacific Partnership. He renewed and extended the Patriot Act. It was about to expire, and he renewed it and did away with more civil liberties. He had more drone-related deaths than any other steward before him. What else did he do? He also took the Smith-Mundt Act, which legally said that you and I could not be spoon-fed propaganda, and he bastardized it and turned it into the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. Bear in mind, this wasn't Obama's idea. Obama is a steward of the District of Columbia. He works for a corporation, the lowest aspect. Somebody told him what to do, and so to speak. They told him what to repeat. They wrote a script, and he read it on a teleprompter. And superficial people watched him and assumed that he was behind these things and that he was a good guy. Oh, and don't forget, Obama's also embarrassed of being gay because he's married to Michael.
Right now, I need warriors. Stand up, speak out. Don't be complacent. I'm not.
Complacency got us this far, but the irony is, none of these people in here understand what's what. And I'm going to show you what's what. Remember that comment I left at the top of the stack? I left a lot of information in here you could use as a tool. It would benefit you. Yeah? So look, it says 7,278 comments. 7278. 2 sevens and a 2-8. Remember that. What we're going to do is we're going to go to my account. We're going to come back. Because if people are actually talking about things that reflect reality, which I am, make no mistake, but I'm sure you have your assumptions because most of you are superficial internet babies and the problem, my comment's going to disappear. Because I was censored. Unlike, oh, it's gone. It still says 2-8 though, huh? 2-7. No, there's 2 sevens and a 2-8. So maybe it fell to the bottom of the stack or the middle. Sometimes it vanishes completely. Let's see if it fell. If I can find it. And this is why I've been leaving them on other people's reactions. Their superficial dog shit. I still don't see it. Do you guys? Which is divisive. This is patently fascist censorship, by the way. This is the opposite of freedom of speech. And part of the reason I'm highlighting this is most people aren't experiencing this, so they do not understand. This is the age of disinformation and patently fascist censorship. Honest people who actually shop around information that would benefit you are censored. Garbage is circulated by the algorithm. If I breezed past it, let me know in the comment section if you see that. That's the wartime flag of the District of Columbia. That's subliminal imagery. That's bullshit. That's a contradiction. An inherent contradiction. Granted, patriotism now has been lumped in with this bullshit. Most people work for the... Here, what else do they have? Here. From a Canadian cheering on those Americans still fighting for democracy. Democracy is a shade of fascism. Just to be clear. Is there a system of voting in place? That's red versus blue. Hegelian dialectic, conquer and divide. That's the bread and butter of fascism at its fucking finest. Whoever left this online is a fool. Here's another point. America, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. These are just 4 examples, mind you. There are more. These are crown colonies. These are vassal states that stand under the crown. I want you to think back to that enduring agenda from 2020, which most people, including myself, can't, refer to by name. Now you can more so because the quota was fulfilled, so they lifted the restrictions because all the wrong people pulling our strings control the DARPA internet and social media. Yeah? I lost my train of thought with that. Pardon me. Too many fucking thoughts. What else do we got in here? 1 second. Wartime flag of the District of Columbia again, and stupid people use emojis, just to be perfectly fucking clear. I don't see my comment either. Let's see if I can do this. Well, there's 7,000, so it's pretty unlikely unless we do this for a very, very long time. The other thing is, on TikTok, this is interesting to me. I can freely scroll on here. You can't do this usually on the internet anymore because it's a divisive tactic. You'll experience lag, or you'll hit the internet into the internet and you'll have to click see more. That's bullshit. That's not something that free people would ever have to put up with. Nudge, nudge, something, something. And if you look away, this would drag me back to the top of the stack where you're spoon-fed propaganda, just to be clear. I know I keep saying that. It's probably clear as mud to most of you, because if you don't take notes and you're not thinking about what I rattle off in these messages, I mean, it is a waste of time, both of our time. Time and energy. It's all we have. But if you're not using what I fucking, hand you guys, I mean, you are the problem. And it's possible I breezed past it because maybe it's somewhere in here. It should have been at the top of the stack. It's fucking horseshit is what it is. I really want to know if it's at the very, very bottom, but I understand most of you probably won't stick around. And who else would take the fucking time to do something like this? I mean, I don't see anybody online trying to show you things that you're not supposed to know. Because they don't know shit. Dick for shit. All they are doing is shopping around controlled opposition narratives. I guarantee it. Again, who is this woman fighting? Are we supposed to just know what she's talking about? I mean, do you know what she's talking about? If so, comment in the comments section. And if you say Trump, you don't have a clue what you're talking about. Not one. Trump is a puppet. He's a face man. He's an actor. His only purpose is to polarize the masses. This goes back to why voting's in place. Because it's the Hegelian dialectic. Blue versus red. It's literally fascism. I mean, for all the literal humor kids out there. Fascism in practice. It's not something that free people would get up to. I shit you not. Here's another bit, since I told you guys, democracy is a shade of fascism, because it is. Look up images of the House of Congress and look up the Lincoln Memorial. Also appreciate what the Lincoln Memorial is facing, because the District of Columbia is symbolized by the Washington Monument, which should unnerve you, because both I think we finally hit it. Both the House of Congress and the Lincoln Memorial are branded with a symbol. And the symbol happens to be the sigil of fascism, the fasci. Because democracy is a shade of fascism. It's not the Republic. The Republic doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, I don't see it. My comment's not at the bottom, at the very bottom. I'm going to leave another one on here, but it's going to disappear too. Who knows where? Fucking knows where. And just to be clear, that's my brand new one on there 1 second ago. And my other comment's not there. The number went up. Who fucking knows? I'm probably going to take the time to read this to you too. I'm clicking on this, but this thing's not working for some reason. I am clicking on it. I don't know why it's not working. Jesus. Usually this would mean that her audio would kick up again, but it's not doing that either. Let's jump out and jump back in. This thing's being janky as fuck. And then it plays. This is the worst app ever. Yeah, we're going to wait for your garbage app. I kind of want to come back to this bullshit too. All right, let's see. Bear in mind, only a fool would promote Satanism.
I'm not afraid to die.
I'm trying to pause this. There we go. Let's see what it says. Gone again. All right, now I'm going to read it to you. The Statue of Liberty, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing, symbolically speaking. Neither is Columbia. Look into the etymology. And away, here we go. And away, no, how's it go? And away we go, here we go. I can't remember. All right, who are you fighting? Most people I meet don't have the first clue. The Republic fell during the Civil War and was finalized in 1871. 1871 marks when the Organic Act established the phony jurisdiction, a third-party government which undid all of the hard work people put into establishing the Republic. I'm referring to the District of Columbia as symbolized by the Washington Monument. This is by all rights the shadow government people will have waxed poetic about, but have never appreciated, because superficial internet babies confuse entertainment with research. They regurgitate what is spoon-fed to them in their feed. They're not invested, which means they're not involved. This means they're the problem. Understand, by 1913, citizens became debt slaves. This is because all currency was being converted into a debt-based system, not based on a gold standard or a subpar silver standard, because you and I are the value. That's why you have a social security number, a birth certificate, and these things are traded on the stock exchange. You and I do not have access to the trust. I did not leave that in here. Once again, who are you fighting? By reinforcing, "Let's go America," in quotes, you are reinforcing a phony jurisdiction in place to subjugate the masses. Just to be clear, because America became a corporation in 1871, and the District of Columbia, the phony third-party government, jurisdiction, however you need to dress it up, a city-state, it eclipsed any and all hard work that the Republic had put in. And it officially put them to bed, or buried them. That was the end of the Republic. The Civil War is also a prime example of what? Fascism in practice. Divide and conquer, blue versus red. In case you aren't using your brain. I've already spoon-fed you guys numerous points that you could connect. Dots, breadcrumbs, they lead somewhere, they mean something. They're not rabbit holes. They're not adult fairy tales. They're not paradigms. They're not icebergs. They're not bullshit. It's information, in stark contrast to the propaganda people repeat on TikTok and other social media platforms. Assume I'm wrong. So I said, you are reinforcing a phony jurisdiction in place to subjugate the masses. Here's an example. What people call the American flag was written into the emoji code because that's the wartime flag of the District of Columbia. The peacetime flag wasn't written into the emoji code. Most people have never heard of the peacetime flag, mind you. Most people haven't figured out that the emoji... I fucking clicked on it, sorry. Most people haven't figured out that emojis were written into free social media platforms, which is a red flag. Just like repeating what you're spoon-fed, it should say your with an apostrophe, and I fucked that up, in your feed. And I also didn't capitalize a lot of these sentences because I was barking at Google, and that's my fault. But Google's target audience isn't bright lights, it's exceptionally dim lights, and that's why it's purposely, if I'm not mistaken, not capitalizing sentences. Because most people will not go back and correct the errors, which means we don't set an example for others, which I'm not doing in this case, and I do want you to be aware of it because I'm aware of it, which means I am doing the wrong thing, and I shouldn't be doing that. I want you to understand that. I'm being lazy. Just like the end of her video and what I said and having to do with it, complacency got us this far. That's why things are fucked. And I should change it, but I'm not doing it tonight. Now understand that the District of Columbia is the bottom of the trilateral city-states, and it's a 3-tier system. I'm going to spell it out for you. I didn't in here. The UK is the banking financial district. That's the crown, the city. It's where the money goes, where the money flows. Again, that's the UK, but it's a city-state, not the royal family specifically, a city-state. They're connected, but I am talking about a city-state that is represented by an obelisk. This would be Cleopatra's Needle. Look it up. Because people took time and energy to move those fucking things to these destinations. I've read at length details surrounding this jazz on my Chessboard Books YouTube account about obelisks. I think I left 2 posts in there. Next to no one watched them. The middle of the trilateral city-states is Roma, the Vatican, the Catholic Church, or social control. Again, this is a city-state, and there is an obelisk. I recommend you look up all of the names you can find associated with this obelisk. It's very telling, and it's very dastardly. The bottom is the District of Columbia, which I already highlighted, having to do with America, which was established in 1871, and it's symbolized by the Washington Monument, which is directly across from the symbol of fascism, which is branded on the chair of the Lincoln Memorial 2 times over. Very telling. Very telling. And remember, Lincoln was the 16th, steward of the District of Columbia, blah, 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 blah. Where are we at? Stewards. So I'm talking about the military-industrial complex. And then I wanted to just be clear. JFK, Obama, and Trump are all stewards of the District of Columbia. They all traveled to kiss the wall, the Western Wall, the Wailing Wall. And the only reason, and a lot of superficial internet babies aren't aware of this, the only reason JFK did not do that in the 3 years of his term before he was assassinated is because it was under Jordanian rule, which prevented him from going there and paying homage to it. None of these people are good people. None of them. They're all in league with Israel. Just to be clear. So stewards of the District of Columbia, and I clicked on it again. Unfortunately, the trilateral city-states are in league with Israel. Now rethink what this woman crapped out. Let's go America reinforces the aforementioned garbage. Everything I've just complained about, she's telling people to get behind that banner and run with it. She's misleading people by example because she does not know what she's talking about. This is the age of disinformation and patently fascist censorship. And I want you to understand, most people aren't going to be aware of that because this gal has 59,000 people who saw what she crapped out because it's useless, it's misleading, it's a distraction campaign. These are muddy waters. These are choppy waters. There's shit in the fucking river. And most people are eager to dive in and open their eyes and get some pink eye. It's a horrible analogy. You got 9,957 people who thought this sounded good. They reacted. They did not think for themselves. So most people don't understand it's the age of disinformation and patently fascist censorship. Let's connect this thought with what I said about Obama's administration, or the Obama administration, because it wasn't really his. The Smith-Mundt Modernization Act, that made it legal to disseminate propaganda to the masses, to the citizens who are debt slaves, mind you. That's why you have access to the DARPA internet. That's why you have social media. And that's why you have a feed, because you are being spoon-fed legal propaganda under the Smith-Mundt Modernization Act. Let that sink in. That's part of the reason why things are bad, a big one, and why people do not have the first fucking clue what's going on. For fuck's sake, you got kids who believe in Tartaria, which dates to 2016. By all accounts, it's a CIA-sanctioned narrative. But you'll see people talking about that on TikTok as if it fucking reflected reality. Here's a bell. That must mean that Tartaria was real. Look up the word spurious. Spurious with an S. P. Yeah? These kids aren't very bright. Where did I leave off? Which is what she crapped out being circulated by the algorithm. She's rallying people to run in the wrong direction. Assume I'm wrong. By the way, I'm censored. And I'm censored on the DARPA internet like a motherfucker. Most people, they're never going to fucking experience this because they use emojis. They're marching in lockstep. They don't have the first clue. I mean, look at all these people praising her. She's doing the wrong thing. She does not know what she's talking about. I just took 21 minutes of my life to try to help you, and next to no one's going to see this fucking video. I guarantee it, and or it will be removed from one of the platforms that I moderate. Whoops. I have profiles across YouTube, numerous ones. One of my Obsidian Monarch YouTube channels was deleted maybe a month and a half ago or so, approximately. All because I left a Ted Pike video on there. And I challenged it. I mean, they did let me appeal it, supposedly. But then they told me, nah, you're done. It's insane. But that's the opposite of freedom of speech. And the only reason shit like that fucking exists today is because community guidelines is the opposite of freedom of speech. It's patently fascist garbage. Why would something like that be acceptable? Because anything that's well-financed and well-circulated is normalized. What am I referring to? I'm referring to a number of words, because words have power. That's also why people are being made to misspell their words, use emojis, crap out JPEGs and GIFs. That's why that shit was written into the algorithm, so you'll never strike up a proper conversation and actually get somewhere with people and do the right thing. But what I'm referring to is, and I'm getting ahead of myself. So you got fascism, which is censorship, or censorship is fascism. It's the same fucking thing. It's the opposite of freedom of speech. Anybody who's ever rattled off polarizing positive vibes only, hating Snopes, debunked, hate speech, bullying, fake, any of that rot, any of that absolute dog shit promotes patently fascist censorship. They're marching in lockstep with their horse blinders on and doing the wrong thing and fucking everything up for you and I alike. And you can assume that I'm wrong, but censorship culture is what? Fascism culture. And you refer to it as cancel culture because that's a soft, acceptable word that was normalized over a period of time and people bought into it. Just like toxic, do you think of men or women when you hear that word? Now think of the Hegelian dialectic, blue versus red, conquer and divide, fascism in practice. You and I are being manipulated. Here's another example of something that's really fucked up, and people keep supporting it, and most people will never challenge each other. And if you don't challenge each other, this shit will continue and only get worse. If you have a blue check mark, yeah, do you? Do you know anybody who does? Because they support fascism. Now, if I left it at that, most of you probably aren't bright enough to figure out what I'm referring to. And most of you aren't bright enough, you'll probably assume that I'm wrong. The verification process is in place to normalize the incremental steps towards social credit slavery, which is relevant because I've already highlighted when citizens became debt slaves in 1913, when the Federal Reserve was established under the pretense of being both voluntary and temporary. These things are relevant. Oh, and I ran out of... I can't do it anymore unless I change it because I'm contacting too many people. Fucking horse shit. Fucking horse shit. What I want to parallel debt slaves with is 2023, July, when everybody was waxing poetic about the sound of Freemasons. Look up the fact that Mel Gibson hung out with Peter Nygard, a pedophile. I'm not kidding. Also look up the fact that the sound of Freemasons was originally under the Disney banner, and it got passed off to Carlos Slim, who is best known for human trafficking and trafficking drugs. Not good people. During the same month, what happened is FedNow, FEDNOW, was rolled out to the banks. It was supposedly voluntary, and the banks bought into it because the banks are in somebody else's pocket. The banking system. That's why a certain group of people were kicked out of every single fucking landmass you could possibly think of, because they were trying to impose a system which you and I currently live under. That's also who's in league with the Trilateral City-States, to connect the dots for you. So July 2023, July 1st, FedNow was rolled out. In the same month, while people were also waxing poetic about a lizard person on a plane, which does not exist, and that's another agenda people have not figured out, which is why you've heard controlled opposition assets like David Icke rattle off lizard people. He would be dead, by the way. Yeah, I said dead. I didn't, make up another bullshit word because I'm not misleading you. I'm not reinforcing patently fascist censorship. Because words shouldn't be censored online or in real life, because that's fascist. So in the same fucking month, while people were waxing poetic about a lizard person on a plane of all things, which is asinine, July 24th of 2023, WorldCoin began testing with a digital incentive, and superficial people bought into it, which means they support it. These are incremental steps towards social credit slavery. Other examples include, but are not limited to, referring to yourself as an influencer, which is absurd. What's another one? Referring to media as content, marginalizing people, essentially letting it boil down to you and I being a commodity in a digital form, not just, the physical, you and I, and our straw man, which I already highlighted, having to do with social security numbers and birth certificates. I also wanted to rattle off something else, but now I can't think of what it was. I had it 3 seconds ago. I'm probably going to digress because this was a long rant. These things wear me out. And I do things like this to try to help you, but most people aren't going to help themselves, which means they are the problem. I contacted a lot of people in here, and these superficial internet babies will more likely than not whine at me. They're not going to think about what I said. They're not going to like what I said. They're going to just whine at me. Most people today usually tell me I'm not reading all that. They'll say, post a GIF. They'll send me an emoji. They'll do something ridiculous. They'll do the opposite of anything remotely close to being fucking helpful. And this will probably, I imagine this will be censored on TikTok, but I am going to post it to TikTok here in a second. Do appreciate, I just spent almost 30 minutes now. 28, just to be clear. Trying to help you guys. Emphasis on trying. If you saw this video, you could do the right thing. I'm censored, but yeah, you could circulate it. It's not the best delivery, but I have said these things numerous times over. You could probably find other videos where I've rattled off much of the same spiel. But the big point is, before doing that, you should probably take notes and run through these things. And if you crap out a superficial Google search, Google's a tool of propaganda. We're using the DARPA internet. You got to be diligent. You have to dig deeper. And most people can't connect the fucking dots anymore. Case in point here. I'm going to play you this if I can go back. Where's it at? Come on. I think I put it in here. Where did I put it? These had next to no views last night. I think it's this one. Let's see. In under 2 minutes, I'll state my case why communism is a shade of fascism, superficial internet babies. Let's have ourselves a little think here, shall we? And what I asked is, would dividing and conquering the masses fall into the category of fascism? So a superficial Google search will still tell you, yes, dividing and conquering the masses is considered a core tactic of fascism, as well as other authoritarian and historically colonial regimes. You with me? So let's do this.
What I asked is the Hegelian dialectic fascism in practice? Because it is. But Google will tell you something else. The Hegelian dialectic, you can read the rest because I can never pronounce that, is not inherently fascism in practice, which contradicts what Google just said, or what Google just provided in terms of search results. Though some critics argue its emphasis on a powerful state and historical conflict provided a theoretical foundation for the 20th century totalitarianism. Once again, there's a reason why I use fascism to describe things like communism. Because most people will argue that communism and fascism are two different things, that they're diametrically opposed, that they're opposites. Well, guess what? That's the Hegelian dialectic, which is fascism in practice. In under 2 minutes.
If you hung out, thanks for hanging out. What the fuck do I know?